Hey everybody, I am in my basement and I'm going to be working on just cleaning up my garlic that I harvested. So we got to cut off the tops and cut off the bottoms, just clean any of the loose dirt off. So I thought I would take you along and see if anybody wanted to join me. Just getting my phone set up so I can see anybody that leaves any chats or has any questions. All right, I think I have it up on my other phone. So let's get to business. How's everybody doing today? It is raining, gloomy here, but at least I don't have to water the garden today. I grew about 200 heads of garlic this year and pulled it out of the ground a couple weeks ago. So now I need to go through and just cut off the tops and then cut off the root part here. Haven't gone live in a long time, so I thought it would be nice to say hi to everybody. So that's what I do. I cut off the top there, trim off all the roots, rub it pretty hard because a lot of dirt likes to get stuck in there, and then peel off any of the paper that's loose. So there's one of them done. Let's pop them in this basket and get to working on the other ones. How's everybody's garden doing this year? Mine's done pretty good. We are in New England in zone 6A, and our garden season's just kind of getting started. We have lots of summer squash, zucchini, green beans coming on, but tomatoes are still tiny. They're green. Not much happening there yet. But all the garlic is harvested, and I have one batch of potatoes that I've harvested. And what else has come out of the garden? I do still have some onions in the ground, but my onions got some strange thing happen to them this year. I don't know if it was some type of disease or if it was, I did plant them a little too close. But all the tops turned like white and icky, and the onions just stopped growing. So those are pulled. Does anybody have a favorite crop that they grow? I've been gardening for 20 plus years. There's another one. The top is cut off, bottom's all clean. And it'll store just like that. Anybody has any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I don't think I see any yet. Oh, so what was I saying? Things that we're harvesting. We have green beans are starting to come on pretty good. Tomatoes are still small and green, like I said. It's been a really good blueberry year for us. We have about 50 blueberry plants planted, and this is our first year of some significant harvest. asparagus, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. I started an herb bed for this first time this year. We have rosemary, sage, and what's the other one? Oh, oregano. We have a bed of those this year. Beets. I think that's the majority of the things we have growing. Oh, we got celery growing. That's doing pretty well this year. I tried eggplant last year. Didn't love it. Ended up getting flea beetles, which I've never had. Is it flea beetles? Never had flea beetles before. Didn't really affect it much except for the greenery. It got pretty chewed up. Hoping to get out and do a garden tour as things are coming out of the garden, as the crops are finishing up. Anybody get excited for their first summer squash and zucchini, and then a week later be already over it? Zucchini for you, zucchini for everybody. Nobody's doorstep is safe from zucchini drop-offs. If you're watching and you're not following, feel free to follow. Would love to take you along on the journey. I started this channel about 18 months ago. Enjoying sharing all that we're doing here. We have huge gardens. We are hoping to put up a greenhouse next year. So I grow mostly just vegetables. And we also have chickens, laying chickens. We also have dairy goats. We have 5 Nigerian dwarf goats. And we do have meat chickens as well this time of year. They are 3 weeks old tomorrow. And we just put them outside in the chicken tractor last weekend. They're eating all the grass and loving life. Anybody grow gardens along with some animals? If you do, definitely let me know what your favorite thing is. We unfortunately bred both of our dairy goats back in February and March, and completely expected babies this month. And one of the mamas, her name is Milky Way, she got big fat, started growing an udder, and then her due date came and went. So we're not sure if maybe she lost it or if it was a false pregnancy. But unfortunately, that means no goat's milk for us, which is a bummer, because we've been without goat's milk for about 9 months now. So, I'm sorry for that. So, we grow hardneck garlic here. So the difference between hardneck garlic and softneck garlic is hardneck garlic back about 6 months ago, about 6 weeks ago, started growing a stalk out of the center, and if you let that continue to grow, it gives you garlic scapes. Softneck garlic, nothing like that grows up in the center. So hardneck garlic's nice because you get a kind of a double harvest, because you can use the garlic scapes like you would use regular garlic. Just a little bit more mild in flavor. Softneck garlic does store a little bit longer, so if you're going to the grocery store you're probably buying some soft neck garlic because of the hard neck. Because this goes down in the center, it doesn't store as long. And a lot of the time when you are buying garlic at the grocery store, you're actually not buying garlic. You're buying, it's called elephant garlic, which is actually in the leek family. So, tastes similar, not as strong, but the cloves are nice and big. But elephant garlic is not true garlic. It's actually in the leek family. So I have already processed half the garlic. And then this is the second half that I have left. I haven't gone through to see which one is my biggest bulb yet. But I figured a good rainy day project is cleaning the garlic and the onions. Can't be out in the garden, it's raining, so next best thing is to take care of some of the harvest. This is the garage that I park in, and haven't been able to park in it in about 3 weeks because I've had garlic in here, onions, and then we had the meat chicks in here for 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to get my garage back so I can park my car in it. What else can I tell you about garlic? Hardneck garlic, your cloves, you're going to end up getting less cloves, but the individual cloves are usually a little bit bigger than softneck garlic. Softneck garlic, you get a lot of cloves, but they are pretty small. I do not like peeling garlic, and peeling itty-bitty garlic cloves drives me crazy. So I will grow hardneck garlic all day long over softneck. Let's do a couple more of these and see if anybody else wants to join us or if anybody has any questions. If you're not catching this live, it will be on a replay. Like I said, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, please feel free to subscribe and follow my journey. We live in New England on a small farm, more of a hobby farm, not like a farm where I'm producing things for other people, but we like to grow most of our own veggies. When my goats do give me goat babies, we use goat's milk for cheese and yogurt and butter. I'm starting to get into trying to make some goat milk soap, which is pretty fabulous, and just goat's milk in general is delicious. We do have quite an orchard here. I think we have 30 plus fruit trees. We have some apricots, cherries, plumcot, nectarines, apples, pears, peaches, plums. Looks like it's going to be a pretty good peach year for us. The other trees put off a lot of flowers, but didn't end up holding on to their blossoms very well. So we seem to grow peaches here well. When other people struggle with peaches, we seem to do fine. If anybody has any tricks of how to help their trees keep their fruit blossoms, we would we are all ears. Every spring we get really excited when we see all the blossoms, and then it doesn't turn into much. We do have honeybees, which has definitely helped, but hasn't really turned into us getting obviously as much fruit as we feel like we should be getting from 30 fruit trees. So with our garlic, we got mostly pretty good. You know, that's I'd say 2/3 of my palm as far as that goes, and there's probably 7 cloves in here. Then we got some smaller ones, but for the most part, they're pretty good size. So what I will do is I'm going to get this whole thing filled up, and then I'm actually going to lay these on a metal rack and just tuck them down like this so they can dry fully. They're pretty dry, their paper's all dry, but when you cut the stem off you can tell that it's still a little damp. So in order for these to store all winter long, I want to make sure that nothing rots and that they dry out really, really well. So we do cure our onions, our potatoes, and our garlic in the basement. We run a dehumidifier to help with that process. You definitely want somewhere warm. You definitely want something that's dry, not cold, but also not too hot, because you just want everything to dry well without a whole lot of humidity. So that's why we use a dehumidifier. So the better process that you use to cure them, the longer storage life that you'll have. It's July and I harvested my onions probably in August of last year, and we still had onions in the basement in March. They hadn't sprouted. They were doing pretty well. They got a little soft, so I cut them up and put them in the freezer, but for me that feels like a pretty impressive amount of time to be able to keep produce in the basement. And I actually just planted, the wind is blowing hard. I just planted another round of potatoes from potatoes that I harvested last July. They had sprouts on them that were 12, 14 inches long. Popped them in the ground, and those long, what do you call those, the eyes, are already getting green, and hopefully there's enough time in my season to get more potatoes. We usually get our first frost, if we're lucky, the beginning of October, but more often than not it is one killing frost, usually in the middle of September, and then it's 80 degrees for a couple weeks, which is maddening, but so didn't have much of a theme to go live about, but I thought I would just take you along, keep me some company while I'm peeling this garlic. Anybody watching, do you guys have YouTube channels? If so, what are your channels about? What do you make videos about? you're seeing this on the replay and you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. I try to be very good about answering everybody's comments. I appreciate people taking the time to leave a comment. It's nice to have some engagement and touch base with people. The wind is blowing the door and making quite a racket. So if you're just signing on, I'm just peeling some garlic. Well, not peeling the garlic, but getting it ready to store for the winter. Cutting off the tops and cutting off the roots. And so far, this is the bucket of garlic we got. I already have about this amount processed and curing further. If anybody's watching and they're new to my channel, we do a lot of gardening around here. Lots of starting veggies in the spring. Lots of fun goat and chicken content. Some recipes here and there. Usually not too much of that in the summer because busy with the garden. But lighthearted content, all meant to be some level of educational and just fun, easy to watch. A lot of drama in the world and I don't want to be part of it, so pretty drama free for the most part. The goats sometimes cause drama, but this garlic, once it's completely dried and cured, I will go through and I will choose the biggest bulbs. The biggest bulbs are the ones that I will replant because the size bulb that you put in the ground is the size bulb that you're going to get out. So if I plant these little ones, these are similar to what I'm going to get. If I take the effort of going through and finding the big ones, I'm going to get bigger ones. My goal each year is to get the size of my garlic a little bit bigger because, like I said, I don't like peeling garlic. So if I grow a really big bulb like this, those are going to be much easier to peel than little tiny ones like this. This one I'll use for just some fresh eating, but like I said, I'll go through and I will reserve the biggest ones that are the biggest, best bulbs, and then we, where I live, plant in October, plant the bulbs in October, and we generally harvest in the end of June, beginning of July. So that's what I'm up to today. I'm from New England in the US. I do have some people that watch overseas, so that's why I specify. I definitely, with the way the world is going, and some food security is good. I've always had a garden. I grew up, my mother had a garden, and 2020, you know, like a lot of people, just kind of brought into some reality of having some food security and just taking some responsibility for feeding myself. Yes, at this point I could go to the grocery store and buy some food, but like I said, 2020 was just a little enlightening. 2020 is when we started growing meat chickens, which is an experience, not for the faint-hearted by any means. But I've been able to eat lettuce, unlike lots of people in the country, because my lettuce grows outside my front door. No worry about no parasites there, which is a good feeling. regardless of where you live. You know, if you have hundreds of acres, you can grow everything you want. If you're in an apartment with a windowsill, you know, I've grown lettuce inside before. It doesn't grow the best, but it still grows. So. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. SAIFAMIR 6210 says, where are you from? I'm from New England. Where are you from? And like I said, I'm sorry if I'm terrible with pronouncing names. So I think I'm gonna finish this last bulb here and call it a day. I think I'll finish this garlic probably tomorrow because I think it's gonna be another rainy day tomorrow, but I have probably done 130 bulbs today, and which means I still probably have 100 left. We grew about 200 heads of garlic this year, which is definitely the most we've ever grown. We're currently eating on 2024's garlic. I didn't even have to touch 2025's garlic last year because we're growing more than we're consuming, which is awesome. Oh, I guess I didn't talk about kind of the way what we do with the garlic. Obviously, we use it for fresh eating. But like I said, I don't like peeling garlic. And the best way that we have found, well, I preserve it in two ways. I freeze it. I will peel it all in a day, and I will put it in the food processor, chunk it up into little tiny bites, or I'll mince it in the food processor. And I make like little hockey pucks on a cookie sheet and freeze it that way. And then I can take out, you know, a couple cloves worth of garlic out of the freezer when I need it for a recipe. And the other way we preserve it is I have a freeze dryer, and we will freeze dry it and make minced garlic just like you would buy in a store. It's all dried and stores beautifully. So I'm not the one to grab a clove of garlic every time that I need garlic. I will generally process it all in a weekend and either freeze it or freeze dry it and use it that way. Alright, last clove or last head of garlic, and I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate anybody who took the time to watch. If you watched and you like it, you know, go check out my channel, Lyman Farm 57, and you see what you like. If you like what you see, if you like what you see and the content, feel free to subscribe, follow along. I would love to have you along this crazy journey called life. All right. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a great day. Like I said, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them down in the comment section and I will get back to you. Have a great day.